So, what are your thoughts about Keri Hilson as far as her as an artist and just her in general? What are your thoughts on Keri Hilson? I know it's very random. She was in the news recently.
I mean, I don't really have no thoughts on Keri Hilson. Like, she had a couple records that was cool. She had a moment, but she's not nobody who like stands out to me as like a person that I constantly like. I don't know. I wouldn't put like I'm trying to think of people of her era. Like, I wouldn't compare it to like a Sierra. I wouldn't compare it to like a fucking I don't know Keisha Cole. Like, she's definitely not a Beyonce, Rihanna. So it's like she was there. Like, she had a couple records, but like I don't really think about it. I know what you're talking about is because I guess she was on the Breakfast Club and she was talking about the Beyonce disc that she performed, but she didn't write. And it was like I was confused like why it went so viral. Like, people really give a fuck about this like 12, 15 years later. Like, why do we give a fuck about like Beyonce? Like, you know, they didn't stop shit. Like, did Beyonce even respond to Keri Hilson at the time? It's like, why is this news? Like, who's searching for this?
Keri Hilson was in the news. Shout out to Lauren LaRosa. She had a one-on-one with Lauren LaRosa in the building, and they were talking about being forced to sing the Beyonce diss song and she didn't even write the song. Apparently, I think it was actually Esther Dean that wrote the song. Let's see if I can pull up the video, and then I'll give my thoughts on it because there's a lot of industry shit that happened in there that I don't really rock with.
That's the one problem with being an artist is that nobody believes that y'all are real people. And so when you are going through real things, nobody will take that into consideration. It's more entertaining for them to be like, the Beehive ran her out of town.
Right, that's way more entertaining.
Yeah. Now today, at this point, are you looking like when you look back at that? And people will bring it up, so I'm sure you're kind of preparing yourself for that. How do you not even explain it, but like, how do you look back on that? What are your comments on it now, so far removed from it?
It's a regret. It's a regret, but not in the way that people would think, because that's a song that I actually didn't write. Those are not my words. I was on tour. Polo wanted me to do a remix to Turning Me On. Mm-hmm. He had produced the record, and I wasn't, because I was on tour with Lil Wayne. I wasn't able to like lay anything down. He had been on me for a couple weeks about we need to do a remix. Okay, so I take off. It wasn't happening quick enough for him. I take off. We fly in, and he had another writer in our camp at the time. He had her write this. So he played it for me, like, this is the remix, because I'm thinking I'm coming in to go write a remix to Turning Me On. Like, The whole time I had been writing concepts, like, but I come into the studio and he plays me this verse, and I'm like, automatically, I'm like, I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. That was my position. So I tried to fight him on it, and I began writing my own. That's what I did with my time there, but I want to be careful with the word I use.
Mm-hmm. Gotta watch your words.
It was quite forceful, you know what I mean?
In an executive artist way?
Yeah, in an executive artist way only. Mm-hmm. You know, involving others and kind of threatening my career, in a sense, in a real sense. Like, you're not coming, because my album wasn't out yet. So it was like, you're not coming out if you don't do this. And the mistake that I made was not continuing to fight, but I was in tears. I was crying. I was adamant that I did not want to do that.
And for people that don't know, you were signed to Polo.
I was signed to Polo and Timbaland.
Correct.
Yep, in a joint venture at Interscope Records.
Yep.
And I was young. I was super young. I felt I had no power. I felt I had no choice. But I did record my version, which had nothing like that in it. It was on subject. The song is about men. And it leaked like days after I did it, but he promised me that wouldn't happen, so it leaked. And that was that. And I protected him. I protected the girl that wrote it, who went on to become famous. I protected everyone in the story, so I had to eat that.
The girl that became famous ended up being Esther Dean. We did a song called American Boy. I think that was actually Estelle. That wasn't Esther Dean.
Yeah, that was Estelle. So she said, your vision clouded if you think that you're the best. You could dance, she could sing, but she need to move it to the left, to the left. She need to go have some babies. She needs to sit down, she fake. Them other chicks ain't even worth my time. Talk about Ben had dollars, boy, go get your money up. Okay. That was a Beyonce diss? I mean, I guess. I get it to the left.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and she said she didn't even write those lyrics too. So it's like, I know that's not really a thing in the R&B pop world. It's like, oh, you didn't write that, but it's like,
was there R&B disses? Like, is that like a thing? R&B diss? Like,
I don't really think so. Not at that time. I don't think
like dissing directly. Like, I'm dissing this girl. I'm gonna diss this guy through R&B. I don't, like I said.
I just think it was because she was like a bubbling artist, and then she tried to shoot at one of the biggest artists in her field, which was Beyonce. I mean, she could have did the same shit to Rihanna. I think it would have been the same response, because I think Rihanna's fan base was pretty big. And I believe, when was this? 07, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think she was.
I mean, I wouldn't be. I'm sure that's something that happens all the time. Like, we're gonna force you to diss Beyonce. The same way a lot of girls were saying that they were trying to sign them to diss Nicki. Whenever, hey, when we sign you, make this record to diss Nicki Minaj because we want to get her out the paint. We want you to be the new girl. We can't really have a new girl without moving this older one out of the way. We can't. I guess in their mind they were like, we can't have a new R&B woman unless we get Beyonce out the way. But I'm like, yeah, Rihanna was there, Sierra was there.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there in like 07? Like, who was around that time? I remember Sierra, Rihanna,
Ashanti
Beyonce.
was like 2002, shortly after.
Yeah, it was like tapering off of her.
Shortly after Leah died, Ashanti had 2 to 3 years, and then she obviously went into acting. I think she got with Nelly in 04. And then 04, that was Sierra, and then Sierra had her run up until
Kelly Rowland had a couple songs, but that might have been a little bit
Kelly
earlier.
Rowland. But it's like, in terms of like, let me talk about Finding Love first before I get to my point. It shows a pattern where your career can be cut short or hindered by the industry when you don't play ball. Many artists have these stories. Sad, but it's life. Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I'm not even that lit musically. I'm nothing really, but I've experienced a little taste of a little taste of the bullshit that they do in the industry, especially for people that don't really know like how the song creation process works too. On top of that, especially in R&B, I think it's a little bit more intricate in R&B because songwriting is very more prevalent and not really looked down upon in R&B compared to rap. Esther is she really is. She really is. But obviously, the lines in question, your vision cloudy. If you think you're the best, you can dance, she can sing, but she need to move it to the left. Obviously, which was a reference to Beyonce's Irreplaceable. At that time, I think Irreplaceable dropped 06, I believe. I think it was 06 or 07.
Yeah.
And then also especially with Keri Hilson being a black female R&B / pop artist, the fact that she was signed to Polo the Don. Now, I respect Polo the Don as a producer. Obviously, one of the most notable Southern producers, and probably just of all time, honestly. If you really look at his discography, his beat discography, some of the songs, you got Runaway Love with Ludacris, Lovin' This Club with Usher, Glamorous with Fergie, a lot of pop R&B, but he also has rap shit. He did Throw Some D's for Rich Boy, Baby by Me by 50 Cent, John with Lil Wayne. Some of the biggest songs that kind of defined an era, especially in terms of like Southern sounding production. Polo the Don, obviously, is, one of the best producers in the South and obviously of all time. But the fact that I'm hearing now that, she felt like she didn't even have an album. Keri Hilson didn't even have an album out, and she felt forced to do it just so that she can have some kind of leverage in her album actually coming out, because she at that time, she was an up and coming artist. And this song itself was already big. And the fact that this was a remix to that song and she's already on tour with Lil Wayne, and then now the controversy after that with no album out, it's like, it's like they almost kind of set her up to kind of, get her quote unquote blackball, because like at that point you don't really have any leverage in that situation. Kind of have to go with the flow. And again, Polo the Don, I fuck with him, as I would never deny his contributions to production, Southern hip hop production. Throw Some D's in itself, it's like, bro, like that song in itself is like, you're
Throw Some D's.
I just can't fuck with it. I think Polo the Don, when he came up, I think he's like a Jimmy Iovine protege. He had a label called Zone 4. I think he signed Keri Hilson. He signed Esther Dean, also signed Rich Boy, a lot of other artists, Roscoe Dash, Ayo and Teo. I know it's a throwback for a lot of niggas.
Ayo and Teo, that's crazy.
Lloyd. My main take, basically, to sum it up, is I don't think people understand how difficult it was to be a black solo female R&B pop act from 2007 to 2018, when it was literally just the Beyonce and Rihanna show. It's kind of like Kobe and LeBron. Yeah, you had your Tim Duncans, you had your AIs, you had your D Wades, you had your other but it was Kobe and LeBron. For a certain period of time, it was Kobe and LeBron, and that kind of fueled that spear from like, I want to say 06, 07 to about 2016, 2017 to 2018. It was pretty much Beyonce and Rihanna. You want to talk about the USA versus China trade war? It was the Beehive versus Navy trade war. It was pretty much them two.